Hi babes! Welcome back to another video. My name is Izzie Annalisa, your resident nerdy yapping girl. And last March, my partner Gabe and I went to Tokyo, Japan. We had been dreaming of doing this trip for many years and finally had saved up every last penny to make it happen. And so when the trip finally found itself around the corner, we knew we wanted to take advantage of every single last minute. But before we could even step foot in Japan, we had to fly across the country and then overseas to land at Haneda Airport. We're flying from Orlando, Florida to Toronto, Canada, and then over from Toronto to Tokyo. First a 4-hour flight, then a 13-hour flight. Once there, we'd have a 13-hour time change. So basically, when it felt like 10 a.m. at home, it was going to be 11 p.m. in Japan. So in preparation, we wanted to put every tip, trick, hack, and theory to the test to try our best to prevent the inevitable doom that is jet lag. But first, before we get into the actual flight and what we did on the flight to prevent our jet lag, our jet lag prevention actually started the weekend before we left. Flew out on a Tuesday morning, and so we took Monday off, as well as obviously Saturday and Sunday, to be able to fully adjust to as close as possible to the time zone we'd be flying into. That basically meant staying up as late as possible and sleeping in as late as possible, with the goal that by the end of the weekend we could stay up to 8 a.m., which was our flight time on Tuesday morning, which would be 9 p.m. Japan time, and put us on a pretty good path to be able to hopefully be somewhat close to a normal sleeping schedule once we got there. Our grand plan was to then sleep on our 4-hour flight to Toronto, and then another 4 hours at the beginning of our 13-hour flight for a total of roughly 8 hours, hopefully, so we don't feel completely wiped out by the time we touch down in Tokyo. But let's see what actually happened, shall we? The weekend before actually went pretty well, all things considered. It went about as well as you can expect us staying up past sunrise when our bodies are definitely not used to it could go. There were a lot of late night Taco Bell runs, as well as long gaming sessions at night to try to distract ourselves from how tired we were. On Friday, we stayed up till about 1 a.m., which was very impressive, all things considered, since we had literally both woken up at 5 a.m. that morning for work. Then Saturday, we slept until 10 a.m. and then stayed up till 3 a.m. that night. Then Sunday, we slept until 12 p.m. and then we tried with all our might, and we did succeed at staying up till 6 a.m. that next night. Then finally on Monday, we were able to sleep in till 3 p.m., which was the latest we'd been able to sleep in this entire time, and honestly, I think one of the latest times I've ever woken up in my adult life. There's gonna be some people in the comments that are like, I stay up till 5 a.m. and sleep in till 4 every single day. And girl, that's not safe. That's not healthy. That's not healthy. You need to be up when the sun's up, at least for a few hours. Okay? Take good care of yourself, please. First, on our not too long of a drive to Orlando, we had to stop at Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's haul! We're at Buc-ee's on our way to the airport we're flying out of, and so we needed to grab food. Celsius, lemon lime. Don't laugh at me. You're rude.
I couldn't.
That's rude. Beef burrito. I was tempted to get the cheesesteak burrito. Your turn.
I got the same burrito, but I got the chopped brisket to the sandwich, as it is so delectable. It's really, really good.
Since it is one of the delicacies of America.
It's one of the, you know, there's 7 wonders. This is the 8th.
This is the 8th wonder in the world. Is
then,
Buc-ee's chopped brisket sandwich.
Exactly. And then I got a gold peak sweet,
Cheers. Extra
sweet tea.
Cheers.
Because it is the only way that
America.
I can have it.
Oh my God, why is it fizzing so much?
Yeah. Maybe.
Cheers. I wish I could cut to footage of me like, and then like shotgunning it.
Yeah.
But I'm not that confident in out and about. I'm not that extroverted.
To be completely honest, I think it would probably give you a tummy ache. That's a lot.
Hey, you don't have to.
That's a lot to go through in one little time.
Don't patronize me. Okay, first impressions. Amazing. It's so hot though. Like I feel like I'm gonna burn myself.
The scents are entering.
Oh my God. It's a thin tortilla.
Ooh, they have the really good tortillas. Actually.
Yeah, they have the thinner tortillas that actually they don't taste like tortilla.
As a man with a Hispanic mama. This is a good tortilla.
You're not Hispanic though.
Yes, I'm not Hispanic. My stepmother.
Hispanic stepmother.
My stepmother.
This is so crooked.
It's super crooked.
I'm sorry, guys.
This is a good tortilla though.
Solid tortilla.
As a man raised
This is a tortilla that she would approve of.
As a man raised by a Hispanic woman.
There you go.
This is a good tortilla.
This tortilla fire.
This tortilla hits on another level. It's a texture thing, and you can
It is
really,
a texture
you
thing.
Can, you
I
can
could tell immediately.
You can tell.
Can you guys tell?
Can you see?
Touch tips.
No.
Yes!
I think I'd rather eat my food than
Touch
play with
tips.
it. You're an embarrassment to the Hispanic community.
Whoa. Never knew I was representing them. This is so good.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
This is very similar to the
What is
tacos. It's beef.
Uh-huh.
It's the ingredients. Is that what you're wondering?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out.
It's
it
refried
is
beans, beef.
That was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot.
It really tastes. It tastes a lot like the breakfast taco. Toodles.
Toodaloo.
Have a bite. Let's go.
I never know when you're gonna be filming anymore.
This was quite literally our breakfast this day because we had woken up right before going on the road to drive to Orlando. And again, it was like 4 p.m. We then grabbed gas and then headed to our hotel, which we wouldn't actually be sleeping in that night. We just used it as a space to be able to like hang out and hopefully stay up till our flight at 8 a.m. We made it to the airport feeling like zombies, and we just kind of held it together the best we could until we got on that plane, and then we passed out. Now wait, you didn't think that sleeping differently than normal was our only tactic going into this, right? Oh heavens no, it's time to whip out the big guns. We had done plentiful research in order to try to figure out the best way to prevent jet lag and also just make flights as easy as possible. Step 1. Hydration. Airplane travel can cause dehydration and make you feel tired and stressed. The low humidity on a plane sucks the hydration right out of you. Therefore, Gabe and I had bought massive water bottles to basically drink throughout our entire flight, and we had planned on grabbing multiple water bottles per person for our 13-hour flight. With limited backpack space, and when I say limited, I mean very limited. We definitely we did not have a lot of room in our backpacks. With limited space, we made it happen, but it was pretty hard. I don't even know if we were able to get as many as we wanted to for the second flight. But for the first flight, we were fine with just getting one each, and we made it work. Second step, skincare. Since you get dehydrated on a plane, of course, moisturizer is very important for your skin. But so is sunscreen, since when the windows are open, you are being exposed to a high amount of UV rays since you are above the clouds.
This is what my research said. If it's inaccurate, if there's any science buffs out there, just take it with a grain of salt. I did my research, but, not all research is created equal.
And so earlier that night when we were in the hotel room, I applied just a shit ton of skincare, just a thick amount of all of my normal skincare, but like my normal skincare is honestly, it's been curated over time to fit my skin needs the best. I did a lot of research to figure out what works best for me. I have very sensitive skin, and so I basically just took what I normally do, but kind of made it more intense to try to build a barrier on my skin as best as possible. And I also put up my hair to kind of, if any germs or anything got in my hair or anything, it wouldn't touch my face, and I would try my best not to touch my face as much as possible.
It is 4 a.m. and we are going to head to the airport in about an hour and a half. And so I'm going to take off my makeup. We're very tired. I'm gonna take off my makeup and brush my teeth and kind of get in a space where I can sleep on the plane, and when I wake up I don't feel like I slept in makeup or like where am I, what year is it, who am I. I also heard our neighbors bonking earlier. I'll show off the products I'm using because I've been really enjoying them. So my freckles are crazy today, Jesus. I have like a couple little breakouts going on, but they're on like they're leaving, if that makes sense, like slowly fading. I have no new acne, which is very rare for me, and I do think it's a mixture of things. So here's some tips if any of you are struggling with acne right now. Make sure your pillowcases are washed every week. Make sure your towels are being changed out every week. Never sleep in your makeup. These are the obvious things, right? But other things as well. You don't have to buy a million different products, but the most important part is making sure that you know what your skin reacts well to and what it doesn't. And so that takes trial and error, right? For me, I know that I can't go to sleep with a ton of product on typically. It clogs my pores and makes me break out worse. So a very pivotal part of my routine is making sure all my makeup and dirt and grime and anything that could have been on my face that day is completely off. So I always double cleanse. I use this cleansing balm to get off my makeup, and then I use this cleanser to wash my face afterwards to get all this off. We're gonna go ahead and brush our teeth before we do any of our cleansing so that oh, that's another thing. If you get acne around here, it could either be hormonal or because your toothpaste is drying on your skin. So try to brush your teeth before you wash your face. Now, I know what I said earlier about I don't use any like lotion or moisturizer or serums or anything before I go to bed, and that is true 100%, but I am going to be applying stuff today because I'm going on a flight, and there's a couple things about being on a flight that you should take into account with skincare, I feel like, or at least this is what I've learned recently, right? First, caffeine eye cream. Next up is this thing. It's a serum. We're doing this. Next up, this oat in calming gel cream moisturizer. Last but certainly not least, we're doing the Centella water face sunscreen. That is the skincare. I have pretty dark circles naturally, by the way, so don't be worrying about that. This is just how I look. You know, I really debated whether or not to put on makeup because I kind of like, I don't love being barefaced from a confidence standpoint, but you know what? My skin's gonna thank me later on, so.
Our third hack is napping, honestly. Sleep is very important and it's hard to get comfortable on a plane ride. Because of that, we bought some things to try to help us with that. The main thing being Ostrich neck pillows. They honestly look goofy as hell, but do they work? Let's find out. We also got these really high quality eye masks that kind of cup to your face to block out as much light as possible, and we're also going to be trying those out. Let us begin the trials.
Flight number uno. Ichi. Ichi.
First trial, our hydration section. On this first flight, we drank all our water and didn't feel nearly as blech as you would typically on a flight. Now, part of that could be because of the relief we felt from being able to nap a bit, but we'll get into that later. I'd give hydration on this flight a 8 out of 10. I definitely think it helped us, but I don't think it was the biggest factor in our overall well-being on that first flight. Second, skincare. Where my skincare girlies at? As I said earlier, I have very sensitive skin, and on a plane, typically I always break out. But after the first flight, I was still going fine and dandy. No red spots, no pimples, nothing on the horizon. I'm giving the first flight a skincare score of 7 out of 10. No acne is great, but like, I don't really think it contributed that much to our overall jet lag prevention. But it still was good for like morale and enjoying my time once I got in Japan even more because, you know, I wasn't self-conscious about pimples on my face. Trial 3, napping. The pillow hoodie eye mask trio did wonders. I slept for 3 hours since I wanted to be awake for taking off and landing time because I get motion sick. Honestly, sleeping on this flight though, 10 out of 10. The whole reason I felt a will to live once we got to the next airport. Now, after a brief layover, it was time to board our 13-hour flight to Tokyo, Japan. The airplane was so big, so nice. We flew in economy and I didn't feel like I was super crammed, which is very important for a long flight. Maybe one day we'll do like a first class trip. I'm manifesting. Manifest that with me, okay? One day we're gonna do a first class flight to Japan, Gabe and I. I forgot to mention another little life hack we're doing in this video, but I didn't really want to harp on it too much because I don't know if it's really going to help us with our specific jet lag prevention that much. We are using compression socks during this entire trip. And I will say my feet were less sore from all the walking than they probably would have been without them, but that's purely speculation. So that test is less valuable to this video. Now it is time to move on to the true trials because a 4-hour flight and a 13-hour flight are built different. On the 13-hour flight, they did give us little blankets and pillows, which was very nice. The only complaint I do have though about the 13-hour flight, besides normal complaints of just being on a really super long flight, is they did meal times based on where we had come from, aka Toronto, rather than where we were going. And cause Gabe and I had adjusted to the time change to try to prevent our bodies from feeling awful once we landed, we were like eating when we should be asleep, basically. So we did have to like tweak when we planned on sleeping just a little bit, but it wasn't that big of a deal. And I get why they do it, but it was because like not everyone does not everyone is hardcore about making sure they don't have jet lag when they get there, as we are, so not everyone is as chronically overprepared, I suppose. Regardless, let's talk and rate how much each of these things actually helped us in a 13-hour flight. Number one, again, we have hydration. This flight was harder to stay hydrated through, but we did our best. We tried to drink water every time we were given food or a snack. Like when they'd ask, like, if you want a drink, we'd always get water to try to drink as much water as possible. As well as the 2 bottles of water we each were able to fit in our bags. We were trying to do 3, but it was just a no-go. We just couldn't fit 3 large water bottles in our backpacks, so we were able to do 2 each of us. I rate our hydration on this flight a 7 out of 10. It did help, I think, a lot, but it was really hard to keep up with on such a long flight, so that's why I'm rating it kind of mid to low, you know? Next up, skincare. The skincare continued on from the last flight, but one thing I really tried to be mindful of was to not touch my face. Airports and airplanes are hella dirty, so I tried to gel often and just like not touch my face if at all possible. Besides when I had to, of course, for like putting on like my eye mask and like all that stuff. I'm gonna rate this again a 7 out of 10. Since it was great, but it didn't really help with prevention of jet lag, I don't think. More so, it prevented us looking jet lagged, or me from looking jet lagged, I should say. Gabe didn't really do any skincare. No one wants to hit the tarmac and look crusty dusty when they get to their location, so I'm glad I did it because I had like a coat of just like protecting my skin from the elements on me. I still looked a little crusty dusty though, but like who wouldn't after a 13-hour flight? Number 3, we have, of course, napping. Once again, a savior to our trip. I slept with the pillow, hoodie, eye mask trio once again, but this time for a whole night's sleep worth practically. I ended up sleeping for about 6 hours during this flight rather than 4, which massively helped me. I basically slept for what felt like in Japan to be like 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. It was really strange because while we were flying, we were following the sun. So it was very weird. So it was like perpetually sunset the entire time we were flying. It was very weird, but it was really cool. But it would have felt like 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Japan time that I slept for, because I slept for the first section of the flight, and then for the rest of the time, I was awake doing stuff. I will rate napping a 10 out of 10. Again, it's just killing it here. Napping is so important. A good nap saves the day. If you're not the type to be able to sleep on airplanes, I highly recommend hoodie, eye mask, ostrich pillow. You will thank me later. I'll link it all down below. For the remaining 7 hours of the plane ride, I worked on my work in progress book, which if you didn't know is called Project Night, and it is, well, that's like the code name, and it's a sapphic romance urban fantasy following a girl who's obsessed with death turning into a vampire. Anyways, enough of the plug. I also worked on some scripts for some videos. I also read on the plane. My read at the time was, it's actually on my shelf, like right there. No, there? Question mark? Like right there, I think. I was reading Wax and Wayne Alloy of Law. Would recommend. It's actually kind of funny because I like don't have a ton of free time. I'm like trying to find a good work-life balance in my real life, my day-to-day life. And I think I found a much better one from when I went to Japan. But when I went to Japan, I had a really bad work-life balance. And so you would think like 13-hour flights, like, oh, I'm so bored. It was the first time I had free time in like weeks. Like I was just like, I get a day off, basically is what it felt like. It was very funny, but that's just me. The 13 hours was just like far less miserable than I anticipated it to be. But I think that was mainly due to all the prep we did beforehand. Once we landed in Tokyo, we went ahead and navigated the train system to our hotel, which was a little spooky because it was like 8 p.m.-ish, so it was like dark out. And so it's like, you know, we're navigating a new city we've never been in a country we've never been in the dark. And so it was like a little spooky, but like the train system's not bad. Like, I implore you, just like look into the main lines that go around the city, and you will save yourself a lot of headache. It's like not that hard once you know what lines you typically go on, and you just need to figure out what direction you're going, truly. But we navigated the train system to our hotel and we passed the fuck out. And we woke up the next day feeling like we hadn't just traveled to a completely another part of the world. Truly, we woke up at the sunrise and it was this strange kind of surreal feeling of like, we did it and we're like here and we don't feel like we're not supposed to be in this time zone because we had prepped so much beforehand. We did wake up at like 5 a.m., which is really early, but like comparatively to what we would have woken up at if we hadn't have prepped, like it would have been so much worse. We would have probably woken up at like 9 p.m. and it just allowed us to slowly increment even more into the time zone change. So now it is time to figure out our winner. What was the pivotal life hack in this experiment? Let's tally up those scores, shall we? In last place, we have skincare with a total of 14 out of 20. Again, it really did help. My skin was flawless when I got to Japan, but did it really help with jet lag prevention? Not really, but you know, it was still an experiment in general. Second place, we have hydration. Coming not that far ahead of skincare with a 15 out of 20. It did definitely help, and I mean, water and drinking water and staying hydrated is so important, especially when traveling, but it made us pee a lot. And also, it was hard to keep up with. So that's why I'm not rating it as high. And in first place, who would have guessed it, our winner is napping with a grand total of 20 out of 20, a perfect score. So my recommendations go as such. Slowly adjust your sleep schedule, if at all possible. It really did a number. Neck pillow and eye mask duo. And I don't mean just like a cheap little fucking beanbag neck pillow. Invest in a nice neck pillow like the Ostrich pillow. Again, I'll link everything down below, including all the skincare I used. Do research and find what would work best for the type of sleeper you are. Don't worry about looking stupid. No one fucking cares. They're probably gonna laugh about it to their friends later. And you just fueled that laughter and enjoyment. So who cares if it's a little goofy looking? I literally heard one of the flight attendants laugh at us. Because Gabe and I were just like, you know, like just like fucking chilling with our fucking like neck brace looking ass. And number 3 on my recommendations is just drink water. Just drink water always and anyways, but like drink water, especially if you're traveling. I know you don't want to have to use the bathroom, but like you will thank yourself. I promise you. I will link all of my skincare and sleep related trinkets down below. If you liked this video, make sure to check out our next Japan vlog, which will be up very soon from when I'm uploading this, but might already be up when you're watching this. If so, I'll put it on the screen right here. It's going to cover more of us actually being in Japan and exploring Tokyo. Comment down below a sleeping emoji if you made it this far in the video. That way I know you made it to the end and you're a real one. And I'll see you in the next video, babes. Goodbye!